What is good, peasants? My name is JB. You guys can read titles and thumbnails. You know what we're doing here. You can see what's on your screen. Today we're going to be here ranking the characters in Pokemon Unite post SCIZOR Scyther release and post September patch. Should be a pretty fun time. So let's just go ahead and hop on in, shall we? Actually, no, before that, I'm going to plug my channel because I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers. And if you enjoy my stupid personality, if you enjoy my hot takes, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting subscribe. It'd mean a lot to me. I really want to hit 1K subs. It'd be pretty damn cool. So if you're not subbed and you like what I have to say, consider hitting subscribe. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and go over our tiers. We have our God tier, which is, you know, just probably going to be reserved for the 1 or 2 best Pokemon in the game. We'll decide. I couldn't think of a better name for it, so I just went with God tier. We have our Silly Goose tier, which is going to be S tier. We have II Captain, A tier. Thanos tier, which is perfectly balanced as all things should be, our B tier. We have the Can You Not tier. See, you guys see where we're going. Then we have the Don't tier. And then below the Don't tier, we have the Really Need a Buff tier. The Pokemon that I end up putting in Really Need a Buff might not necessarily be the worst characters in the game. Like, they may not necessarily be worse than the characters in Don't tier, but I just want to differentiate that from characters that I perceive are in the most need of getting a little bit of a buff. So yeah, that's how we use the Really Need a Buff tier. It's typically just the D tier, but I decided to differentiate them since we're going back to naming the tiers. Last few I've done like S+ and stuff like that, and I got a couple comments asking to not do that, so I'll just have the same amount of tiers, but we'll have stupid names, so get played. Oh, actually there's like one less tier, but whatever, it's funny. Let's go ahead and start off with attackers, shall we? I'm gonna put Ninetales in B tier. It feels pretty damn solid, all things considered. I just think there are better lane attackers. I think there are better lane mages, but it's still really good. Like, you pump out a ton of damage with the character. It still feels really strong, but it's not, you know, the end all be all. I think it's a perfectly fine B tier Pokemon. All right, Cinderace. This might be my hottest take. A lot of people say Cinderace sucks on this new map. They're wrong. Cinderace is still phenomenal. You still press the A button a lot. It's still a really good jungler. It's still a really good solo queue character. And I should say, before we get too further along with this is mostly going to be focused on solo duo trio instead of, like, you know, 5 stacks. I haven't really played a ton of 5 stacks on this new map. Although that might be changing this weekend. I'm playing in a tournament. I might stream that here on YouTube. We'll see. If you guys want to see a tournament stream, let me know. But yeah, mostly going to be solo duo trio. But from the 5 stacks I have played in, not a whole lot feels too different, at least to me personally in the games I've played. So yeah, like I said, mostly solo duo trio. You can, you know, maybe we'll talk about some differentiating things in 5 stacks. I don't really know. If we get to a certain Pokemon, I have something to say, you'll hear it. But yeah, Cinderace, we're going to go ahead and put in the A tier. I think it's still a very solid character. Great jungler, great just busted ass auto attacks, just pumps out a ton of damage. Is it as good as it's been? Is it like what it's previously been one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion? Probably not, but I see too many people putting it like fucking down here for some reason. Like, are we playing the same game? Probably not. Is it as good as is it good in 5 stacks? I don't think so. I think that's probably what a lot of the people I've been seeing are playing, because I've seen like some pro players put it down there. So maybe it's not a good jungler in 5 stacks, but I think it's still an unbelievably good Pokemon in solo queue and in just the game in general, and just as a character and its stats and the damage it does, I think it's still really fucking good. So I'm going to put it in A tier. Decidueye, I'm also going to be putting in B tier. Very solid character. You do a lot of damage with your snipes. The problem is a lot of what Decidueye was good at on the old map was securing objectives, securing Dreadnought, securing Zapdos. Not as important on this new map. But, you know, it's still pretty solid, still a really fun playstyle. I love Decidueye. It's like my favorite character in the game to play. I love it, I love it, I love it. But it's not the best, so we'll put it in the B tier. Character that I think might be in contention for the best, and this is another one of my hot takes. Shout out to the buddy Scolded as well. He's also a big fan of this character. That is Delphox. I'm putting Delphox in the S tier. It's phenomenal. It is one of the best attackers in the game, one of the highest damage output characters in the entire game. Like, the stuff you could do with this character is just ridiculous. And again, this is mostly solo queue. It's probably dog shit in 5 stacks. It's probably horrible. But in solo queue, this character dominates games. Like, you just put out a ton of damage. You're Unite moving every single fight. You can push Rayquaza with this character. It's a fantastic jungler. Blue buff is still amazing on it, even after the jungle nerfs. It's a top tier jungler, in my opinion, and I'm not going to back down on that take. Like, sure, come at me if you want. I don't care. I think Delphox is a phenomenal character, and I'm going to rank it as such. All right. Oh, I skipped Kermit. Kermit, I'm also going to put you in B tier. This is the problem with having less tiers, even though we have one less. A lot of Pokemon get grouped together, and that's fine. Like, Kermit is still fine. Got nerfed again. Was it the cooldown on Air Slash, or was it the healing on Air Slash that got nerfed? I don't know. Either way, it got an Air Slash nerf again. Haven't played it since this most recent patch, but it still feels fine. Still a pretty solid jungler. Still really good in lane as well. Like, it's still very good. It's just not as broken as it once was with the The drop of the emblems when cooldown emblems were first coming out, it was ridiculous, but it's still pretty good. Espeon. Espeon's tough. It's between B and C for me. I think it's a lot better than it used to be. A lot better than it used to be. So I don't think it's as good as Ninetales. I'm gonna put it in C tier. See, here's the thing. This is why I had more tiers, guys. This is why I had it split between like B and B plus, because Ninetales would be a B plus character, Decidueye would be a B plus character, Kramer and Decidueye, or Kramer and Espeon would be B tier characters. But since we have one less tier, because people are like, hey, can you have less tiers? We gotta bump someone down, because I don't think Espeon is as good as these other characters, but I think it's still a pretty damn fine Pokemon, all things considered. It has a better Unite move. Side Shock feels a lot better. Future Sight feels a lot better. Psybeam feels fine, but like there are characters I'd rather have than it. Like at the end of the day, I think they're just better characters in the game, but it's not bad. Like I guess I have to put a B tier, dude. I don't think it's a C tier character. I think it's better than that. So we'll put it there. And this is the problem with having fewer tiers, because I'm also putting Gardevoir in B tier. Everything is just B tier. Everything feels fine. There are certain characters that stand out one way or the other, and that's kind of what a lot of these tier lists turn into, I guess. So leaving it in the B tier. Gardevoir is a much better jungler than it is a laner. I think it's borderline throwing to play this character in lane, but it still feels fine. Like, it's okay in lane if you can get your experience. Like Psyshock feels great, Psychic still feels fine. Moonblast is the most broken move in the game, and you will never change my mind on that. Future Sight, it's whatever. Has a decent Unite move, but it still has Moonblast, and Psyshock is still really good. So I'm gonna leave it in B tier. I think it's a really good character. Glaceon, formerly an S tier character, borderline still there in my opinion. It's another character I just haven't played since SCIZOR came out, so I don't know how much the Icy Wind nerf affects it. I'm gonna tentatively put it in the A tier. Tentatively, because I think it's still really good. And I think it could very easily still be an S tier character and S tier jungler. I think it's much better in the jungle than it is in the lane, like a lot of characters are, but it's still it's still really good in lane. Don't get me wrong. Like Icicle Spear still does ridiculous damage, even though it's not necessarily like the build. Like both of its builds are good. It's a character that doesn't have any bad abilities. Like all of its attacks are good. It has one of the best passives in the game. Like that passive feels like it's up all the time, even though it's on like a 70-second cooldown. Like it feels like it has it all of the time. So yeah, I'm gonna put Glaceon in A tier. It could very well still be S, but I think it's still a really, really good character. I don't think much has changed. Greninja, pretty much the same thing as Cinderace. It's just a really good solo queue carry still. Like it's fine. I think it's probably a little bit better than Cinderace, maybe just because you have a little bit more sustain with Surf, and there's just so much experience to farm, so you're constantly being able to surf and heal yourself up if you need to. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on. So I don't know, man. Greninja feels a little bit better than Cinder, so we don't typically rank the characters against each other in tiers. So, but yeah, we'll do it just a tad bit ahead. Yeah, but yeah, I like Greninja a lot. Still very good. Nothing to complain about the character, so put it there. Mew, this character is not nerfed at all. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say yeah, character's still great. It's still phenomenal. The auto attack alleged nerf doesn't feel like a nerf at all. It still gets Solar Beam at level 1. Surf is still ridiculous. Agility is still ridiculous. Lights, the character is just fundamentally broken. It's completely overpowered and completely overtuned. I don't know what they do to it other than just completely cutting its damage numbers in half, but who knows if that'll even do it. It's ridiculous. It's so good. I skipped Duraludon, my bad. I'll come back to you, buddy. Spoiler alert, another B tier character. It's another character that gets a lot of crap, but it just does a lot of damage. At the end of the day, it does too much damage to, I think, put in C tier. I don't think I can justify that. Are there any attackers that are going to be C tier? I don't think so, actually. I think all the characters attackers are going to be B tier or above. Actually, we can fix that, yeah. We can differentiate it now that there's a couple more characters in the tier. I'll put Duraludon C. Like it's a sitting duck playstyle at the end of the day. And with Flash Cannon, because I think Flash Cannon sucks, but it does put out a lot of damage with it. And much like the Decidueye, its secures aren't as valuable as they were on the old map. So yeah, we'll put it down to that feels wrong. That feels so wrong, because it's still good, dude. It's still really good. Oh, that feels so dirty putting it there. You know what? I'm gonna stick to Espeon not being as good as these other characters. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick to Espeon. Fuck it. That's my take. Espeon's the worst attacker. It's not true. I don't know if that's true, man. It's not. It's objectively not. Screw it. I'm just gonna have a massive B tier. Who cares? I'm just gonna have a massive B tier. Deal with it. All right. Next up, we got Sylveon. I'm gonna put Sylveon in A, actually. Hyper Voice is ridiculous. At the end of the day, this character is kind of only Hyper Voice, but it doesn't really need much else. It's super strong. It's super, super strong. Decent Unite move. Mystical Fire is actually... Mystical Fire is not the worst, but it's like one of those things like, why would you run Mystical Fire when you have Hyper Voice at your disposal? But again, it's not bad. Also, I skipped Pikachu again. I'm really good at going out of order. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't do the alphabet. But yeah, dude, I'm a big fan of Sylveon. I don't know. Putting it in the A tier. Pikachu. Big B tier gets bigger. I think Pikachu is actually pretty underrated right now. It's been, you know, so good for so long that it just doesn't feel as good on this map. But providing stuns for a lot of the jumpy, divey characters, specifically this piece of crap and this piece of crap, is pretty nice. So yeah, I kind of like Pikachu a lot. Like, it's, you know, you just catch someone with a Volt Tackle and it's just really valuable for your team. You're also, you know, constantly spamming your Unite move. I think Pikachu's pretty underrated, but, you know, not the be all end all. I think it's probably at the top of B tier, but like I said, we typically don't, you know, really rank the characters against each other within tiers. And then Venusaur, we're gonna go ahead and put in the old A tier. Again, it's another character that the general community consensus seems to be down on, but I just think it's personally too good to put any lower. Like, it's still very good. Solar Beam feels really solid on this new map. You're just so many bushes to hide in because the move is bugged. You can just shoot from a bush and no one can see it. Your Night move's still really strong. Petal Dance, Giga Drain still feels solid. Like, I don't know, like the difference between Venusaur being a sniper build and Decidueye or Duraludon's, like, you know, long range builds, is that Solar Beam one-shots enemies, whereas, you know, Duraludon needs a little bit of help. Decidueye can sometimes one-shot, you know, certain characters, but Solar Beam just feels really freaking strong. Plus, you can, you know, jungle with it, get blue buff, and you're constantly spamming it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, I feel like I can justify that. All right, let's go ahead and do some speedsters next. Absol, dude, the B tier is just gonna be so fucking big. This is why I differentiated it, guys. This is why I did it. Absol, I guess we can put Absol A. I guess we can do that. Yeah, Absol's probably the second best speedster in the game right now, if you had to ask me. I think it's a very strong character. It's a lane bully early. It's a good invader, solid Unite move. All of its moves are pretty darn decent. I'm not a huge fan of Pursuit, but apparently there are some just crazy things you can do just chasing people down with it. But the problem with that is you just turn around and look at the Absol and then Pursuit does nothing. Yeah, but Psycho Cut, Night Slash are still really good. Sucker Punch is still fine. Good Unite move. It's just a really solid high damage character that is a very good just hyper carry. So yeah, it's still probably an A tier character in my opinion. The Dodrio, I along with a lot of other people, are way too harsh on the Dodrio upon release. It's pretty damn strong. Like, if you're able to keep your sprint gauge up and just nail people with big drill pecks or even tri attacks, I personally think tri attacks probably a little bit better. This character does still feel pretty nuts. Like, Dodrio is actually pretty good. Its Unite move sucks. I think that's fair. But, you know, jump kick, tri attack feels crazy. Like, just, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. It's everything this character wishes it could be. Gengar, S tier. The character's ridiculous. Apparently, they nerfed in air quotes Hex's range, but that's actually better for it. Like, yeah, I know Spraggles made that video, but that's like that's not like some huge revelation that Hex had some of the worst targeting in the game, and they actually fixed that by lowering his range, so now you can just hit your Hexes easier. Yeah, this character is ridiculous. It definitely needs a damage nerf, a big one at that. It's probably the best jungler in the game, although I'm still gonna stick by Delphox being really fucking good. It's just Gengar destroys the 1v1, obviously. Yeah, Gengar is very powerful, so putting it in the S tier because I think that's where it belongs. Talonflame, listen, if you're asking me personally, it's there, and I'm still gonna stick to putting it in Z tier. I think the character is vastly overrated, extremely so. I went on this rant in my Dodrio tier list, but I'll try to condense it here a little bit. Like, there's no such thing as a good Talonflame player except for my boy Colin Ting. He's the only one I've ever seen, and I've like, this is the exact like argument I had in my last tier list was, go Unite API me. It's just my YouTube name with YT at the end. Go look in my games and look at every single Talonflame I have on my team and find me one who played well. You can't. You truly cannot. Every single person who plays this character sucks. All they do is try to score. All they do is go in and int their brains out. They're never in team fights. They're constantly just doing 30,000 damage. And this is, maybe it's just like a personal thing. Maybe you run into Talonflames all the time who are just constantly, you know, jumping in team fights and playing well and scoring when they need to and, you know, helping the team. But every Talonflame I run into has like 2 kills, 25,000 damage, and 80 points scored. Those are the Talonflames I've ran into all season. And yeah, I think the character is vastly overrated. Extremely overrated. All right, moving on. Zero Aura, I'm going to put in B tier. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. I think both of his builds are solid. Gets his Unite move, you know, earlier. You're spamming it a lot. I think the character's really strong, but they're just better characters at the end of the day, so we'll go ahead and put it in the B tier. Let's do supports next. Blissey, A tier. Phenomenal character. Borderline S. I think the changes to some of the other supports are finally starting to rein it in a little bit. But the thing is, I think the character is still going to be ridiculously good just because you get so effing much healing from it. Like, you still do 100k plus easily with soft world, and Safeguard is still good, and the C9 move is still good, and Helping Hand is still good, but no one runs Helping Hand. Helping Hand is one of the best moves in the freaking game. Think about that. Helping Hand is so good, just nobody runs it. It has one of the best moves in the game that nobody uses because everything else in this kit is so good. It's S tier. Who am I kidding? It's phenomenal. I think there are just, yeah, I think the character is too effing good. All right. Hoopa, no, Eldergos. Eldergos, this is one of my things. This is like I said, Eldergos is not the worst character in the game. It is not the worst character in the game. Eldergos is not the worst character in the game. But I do think Eldergos is in most need of a buff. Look at every other support and what they provide. Shields, peeling, just everything. Blissey does better. Hoopa speeds you up better with Trick. I mean, that's about it with Hoopa. It does technically have better healing with Hole, even though we'll get to Hoopa in a second. Mr. Mime is just better in every way with healing, providing team support and shields. Wigglytuff got him some massive buffs. We'll get to that in a little bit. Everything that Eldergos provides, from moving your team around to shields to healing, every other support does better. It's not a case of Eldergos being a bad character. It's just every other support, there's everything Eldergos does ramped up to 11. Like, Eldergos needs some love. And like I said, it's not a controversial thing. It's not that I'm saying Eldergos is bad. I actually think Eldergos is better than Hoopa, like ever than overall Pokemon. But Eldergos needs help in terms of being a support. I think Hoopa also needs help, but I think Hoopa's just really bad on this map because they nerfed too much about it. But yeah, give our boy, give our Puffball some more healing. That's really all it needs. Like, just buff Cotton Guard. Just buff Cotton Guard. That's really all we need. Buff Pollen Puff maybe a little bit too. Yeah, Eldergos needs a little bit of love. Speaking of Hoopa, I think Hoopa's, I cannot believe we're in a position where Hoopa might be one of the bottom 10 characters in the game. Bottom 5 to 10 characters in the game. It's just bad. And I don't know what happened. Like, you'd think it'd be really good on this map with score comps and stuff being a thing. But the fact is, like, you just don't heal anything. Like, a Hyperspace Hole just doesn't feel valuable. Obviously, you know, being at Zap Fight with the Hyperspace Hole was like the biggest thing on the old map. That was super important. But no one gives a shit about Rayquaza, so you don't really need to worry about being there. So your ult just inherently, you know, just got an indirect nerf in that way. Yeah, like, I do think at some point though, score comp will become a thing in the top tier meta. I think Hoopa will be back, and I don't really think it needs any buffs or anything. I just think the way the game is played at this current point in time, with other supports just, you know, existing, Hoopa kind of sucks right now, which is really weird to say, because for so effing long, Hoopa was the best character in the game. But it just a few changes to the map and way things work, and, you know, objectives being what they are, it kind of sucks. It's really weird to say. It's really weird to say. I do think Trick is probably pretty, like, Trick feels pretty good, but, you know, Trick Hoopa, just play Blissey, just play Mr. Mime. Like, it's weird. Like, it's just a really weird thing that we're in. Mr. Mime, still an S tier character. Don't really think that's controversial. Maybe it is. The nerfs to Power Swap do feel significant. The nerfs to Psychic feel whatever. Like, Psychic's still decent. Problem is, Confusion was always the better move previous to this patch, previous to the new map. And now Confusion is still just really freaking good, and you still just have buff Power Swap. Yeah, so the character's still great. Tsunami move is still good. You just don't have like the one-shot potential that you used to, which is probably a good thing. You do feel the nerfs significantly, but the character is still unbelievable. So gonna put it in the S tier easily. I think it's still up there in my opinion. Wigglytuff, Wigglytuff, Wigglytuff. Am I really about to do this? I'm putting Wiggly in A. This might be my biggest overreaction to the new patch, but my god, does Wiggly feel incredible. The patch previous to this, they buffed Double Slap. This patch, they buffed Dazzling Gleam, and they buffed your Unite move charge rate. So you're getting legitimately 4 Unite moves easy, sometimes 5, depending on when you're able to use it. If you're able to get really ahead early and you can just pop one, you can get 5 Unite moves in a game with this character. This Unite move is really freaking good still. Sting feels great, roll out feels fun. Dare I say this is the best defender in the game? Probably not, but it's up there. Wiggly functions more sort of a defender than a support in like a team setting. So this may be more of a team thing. I truly think Wiggly is insane, and I'm not gonna back down from that. I'm gonna keep my stand my ground on this one. I think the character is borderline broken. All right, it's not borderline broken, but it's definitely good. It's definitely good, and Q Charm is still great. So yeah, I'm putting Wiggly in A. I'm putting Wiggly in A, and I might honestly be underselling it. All right, moving on to our defenders. Blastoise. I'll put Blasty Boy in B. I think it's pretty damn good. I haven't played it on this recent patch, but they buffed a lot about it. Its early game got huge buffs, which honestly didn't really need, but it's nice. I thought its early game was fine, maybe a little bit lacking, but it's probably great now. Surf had a lower cooldown. You get your Unite move more often. It's still one of the best Unite moves in the game. So honestly, this is probably underselling it. I might go ahead and bump it up to A. Because yeah, Rapid Spin Water Spout still really good, and your actual tank defender build, Surf Hydro Pump, got better. So, and your early game got better. Yeah, I'm convinced. Talked myself into it. A tier character. All right, Crustle. So there are a few characters in the yeah, I can confidently say Crustle's probably a C tier character. You can get away with a lot of, you know, scoring shenanigans, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, cool, what can you provide in a fight? And Crustle's still not great in fights. That's a really good Unite move. X's is really good, but the character feels a little bit squishy sometimes, and your best build makes you squishier with Shell Smash. So I don't know, man. Crustle's fun. It's really good, and you can carry some games with Crustle, but I just think some of the defenders are better. And I don't think I could justify putting it in B when I do think there is a pretty big gap between Blastoise, a couple of other Pokemon, and Crustle. So I think there's just, not that Crustle's, you know, necessarily that much worse than some characters I'm going to put in B tier. It's just not quite as good. All right, Greninja, I'm going to put in A, one of the best invaders in the game. Probably the best invader in the game still. Does a lot of the short scoring shenanigans Crustle does, but a little bit better. One of the most annoying characters in the history of Unite. I don't really think I need to explain too much more than that. Yeah, Radiant's ridiculous. Mamoswine, I'm putting in B tier. I am a huge fan of Mamoswine. I think it's very underrated, and it's borderline an A tier character for me, but I realize that's probably a hot take. That's the one I will, like, you know, bring myself back on. Like, the character feels amazing, but at the same time, I don't know if it's just because, like, I get lucky in the games I have with it, but every game I'm doing easily 80 to 90k on Mamo. I think the character is very good in this brawly sort of meta. It's not even really a brawly sort of meta. I just think Mamoswine's pretty good against squishies, and there are a lot of squishies that are, you know, up here. So I think Mamoswine's pretty damn solid, man. Both of its builds are good. All of its moves are decent. This Unite move actually feels okay for once. Like, it's still horrible, but it's not like the worst, I guess. Nowadays, after the changes last patch. So yeah, man, I mean, Mamo feels amazing right now. Slowbro, also a character that feels pretty darn good. I'm gonna leave it in B tier as well. Another character that got some big buffs to its early game. I haven't played it yet, but I love Slowbro a lot. I think it's fine. Putting it in the B tier. Snorlax. This is another character, much like Talonflame, I went on a huge rant on. I am not going to put it anywhere above B tier. I think the character is extremely overrated. Block is the literal only good thing about this character. You will not change my mind. You will not change my mind. The only good thing about Snorlax is block. That's it. That's it. Otherwise, you are a fucking liability to your team. Flail's a meme. Flail's bad. Heavy Slam can be useful sometimes, but whatever. It's fine. Block is the only good thing about this character. You can use it to push Regieleki, and you can use it to push people off your goals. That's it. That's it. That's all it does. Other than that, it's just a damage sponge. Don't care. There's that it is what it is. Trevin, however, it's a damage sponge that doesn't die. That has self-sustain, probably the best self-sustain in the game. Great healing. Still to this day, one of the most underrated Unite moves in Unite. I think its Unite moves absolutely phenomenal, and there will be a day and time when Trevenant's Unite move shines as one of the best. It hasn't come yet, but I promise you someday people will realize that Trevenant has one of the best Unite moves in Unite. It'll probably be a Cinderace meta when that day comes, but yeah, it's one of these days people will recognize how good Trevenant's Unite move is. Everything about the character's kit is great. It doesn't die except for Plainsword. Plainsword's awful, but yeah, I love Trevenant. Easily the A tier, borderline S tier. I think it's the best defender, best pure defender, best defender in the game. Yeah, I love Trevenant. All right, moving on to our all-arounders, and of course we're going to be doing the new Pokemon last, so gonna make you guys wait for that. Slash, I'm putting you in the A tier. Great in lane, great in jungle, very solid character. It got a nice little buff to Iron Head, although I think there's no reason to run Iron Head over Wide Guard. Wide Guard is just better. I'm gonna have to go on a very quick tangent. I posted one of the best games I've ever played on Slash not too long ago. Go read the comments in that and just laugh at them, because apparently despite dropping 20 kills and over 100k damage in a game that we absolutely dominated, apparently I have no clue how to use Wide Guard and I'm a fucking idiot. So I don't know, that just made me laugh a lot. I felt the need to point that out. I think I know how to play Slash, and it's one of the best characters in the game, one of the best, very good junglers. Not one of the best, but a very good jungler, very good laner, good all around. You can really do whatever you want with this character. Just learn how to juggle Wide Guard and your basics, and you're dominating games. Slash is phenomenal. Azumarill, the winner of this previous patch, and I think kind of by a long shot. I'm putting Azu in S tier. This might be overreacting a little bit, but they've been buffing this character for a really long time, and I think they finally nailed it by giving it a level 4 evolution, level 8 Unite move, level 6 second move. Like, it feels super strong, man. They've buffed everything about it. Water Gun, or no, Whirlpool and Aqua Tail both feel amazing right now. Both feel phenomenal. Water Pulse is still great. And even though I'm not much of a player off guy myself, it's pretty good too. Like, everything about the character's kit is pretty damn insane. You get your Unite move a level earlier, so you're spamming it more. I'm a huge fan of Slash, and like I said, this might be slightly overreacting, but hey, I'm here for it, man. Azumarill is really freaking good. Yeah, putting in an S. All right, moving on to Buzzle. I'm between two tiers on Buzzle because it did just get a bunch of nice buffs, but I still feel like it could use a couple of tweaks, and it's still not the best. So I'm gonna put it C tier. The only reason I'm keeping it out of really needs a buff is because it did just get a bunch of them, and the buffs do feel significant. Like, Leech Life feels a lot stronger, Smackdown feels a lot stronger, its early game feels decent. Problem is, look at all of the range stuff ahead of it. Like, look at everything that plays at range here. Buzzle has 0 engage, 0 disengage. Like, if you can catch a squishy, cool, you're probably killing it. The problem is, if a squishy sees you coming from a mile away, because it takes you forever to get close to them, you're just dead. You're getting kited. Like, it has reverse Garchomp syndrome, or I guess kind of reverse Garchomp syndrome. It has Garchomp syndrome and T-Tar syndrome, like to the next level. Like, it's ridiculous. It's not even like not even that it's getting kited and keeping them off of you. It's getting to the enemy is the problem with Buzzle. And listen, Leech Life feels a lot stronger, but why the hell doesn't that move have Unstoppable? Like, why are there moves like Submission Machamp, which we'll get to? Why are there moves like Slowbro Telekinesis? Like, why are all the other grabs in the game moves that you have to full heal out of? Why can't my own team push people out of my Leech Life? Like, I don't know, just give Leech Life that, and then we're moving in the right direction, and maybe increase Lunge's range a little bit, and then we might be getting somewhere. Maybe. All right, Charizard, I'm still gonna leave you in the S tier. Oops, nope, you're not God. I'm gonna put you in S tier. They didn't really change anything about your Unite other than you can only you can't grab Pokemon with hindrance resistance anymore. You still can't grab people with Unstoppable. And off the top of my head, there's only a few characters that actually get like hindrance resistance. Obviously, you can still full heal it, you can still Unstoppable it, like you can still counter the Unite, but it's not a huge change to it. Fire Punch got a little bit of a buff. I still think Flamethrower is better, but you know, it's a nice little buff there. Yeah, I think the character's still great. Having true damage for Ray Fight if you need it is invaluable. And I think it's still very solid. Great jungler, great character all around. Would not recommend playing it in lane. Although I guess you can with Fire Punch getting buffed. Maybe like you can get away with some stacking shenanigans with Fire Punch Flare Blitz. Maybe that'll be a video, who knows? I've already made that video like a long ass time ago, but now that it's buffed, maybe we try it again. We'll see. But yeah, Charizard feels decent, or still feels really good. Speaking of feeling decent, I'm gonna put Dragonite in the B tier, similarly to Decidueye and Duraludon. The best thing about Dragonite's kit, Hyper Beam, is the fact that it was such a good secure, and securing just isn't as important on this map. You can say, oh, well, just play Outrage, dude. Okay, yeah, just play Azumarill, Aegislash, Machamp, Tyranitar, Serena, and you'll have a better character than Outrage Dragonite. It sucks. This is another thing I'm never apologizing for. I'm never backing down on it. Unless they significantly buff Outrage, it's a horrible move and you should never run it. just play any other all-arounder and you'll have a better Outrage Dragonite, I promise. All right, moving on. Yeah, the problem with Outrage, okay, just, you know what, fuck it. We're going on another tangent. We're already 30 minutes in. We only have a few characters left. So the problem with a lot of all-arounders and brawly characters is that they're very, very weak to CC. They're very, very weak to stuns. Outrage stuns you. The character stuns itself. Just keep it up, dude. Just keep dragon dancing. Okay, what happens when characters walk away from you and then you can't keep up with them? Outrage is a bad build. Fuck. All right, Garchomp. It's my second favorite character behind the Decidueye to play. It's fucking terrible. It is in need of a buff, but I think it's significantly like just bad. It is significantly terrible, and yeah, I love, like I said, it's my favorite character to play, and I will still fuck a team up with a Garchomp. I'll still drop 100k on a Garchomp, but like it's not it. Let's be real. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. It's horrible. It's just so bad. Please buff Garchomp, man. I've tried to avoid this feeling for the longest time, but I think it's true. I think I can finally look in the mirror and admit that Garchomp is the worst character in the game. And I hate it. As a Garchomp player, I fucking hate it, but yeah. We need some love for our dragon. I don't know what we need a lot. Lucario, I'm still gonna put it in A. The top lane changes probably just make it better than it's been. Still very strong. I don't know, it's still Lucario. I don't really feel the need to go too in depth on that one. Is it still Lucario? Yes, it's broken then. Got it. But yeah, same sort of thing. Yeah, the Unite move initial buffs or nerfs hurt it. Like, it doesn't get the movement speed. I really enjoyed that, but its Unite move still does a fuck ton of damage. So it's great mobility, you know, great damage output, great burst damage. Like, it's still a great character. Tyranitar, gonna also put you in A tier, although it does feel like it's falling off slightly in favor of Azu and stuff like that, but I don't know, again, just true damage is super invaluable. The character is great, it's just, it really struggles in lane, so you want to jungle with it, but there are characters that just feel better in the jungle. But yeah, T-Tar is still an amazing character with a fantastic kit. Serena, once again, I will not back down on this. Serena is ridiculous. It is super strong. It is an S tier character without a doubt in my mind. So yeah, very, very brawly, very assassin-y, very sustain-y, very everything. Again, another character with not a bad move in his kit, although I will say Chop Kick is significantly better than Grassy Glide, but Grassy Glide's still fine. Triple Axle and Stomp both feel great. Good Unite move. Serena's amazing. Love it. And now we get to the new guys, SCIZOR and Scyther. So, where do we put them? Where do we put them? Scyther will do first. I'm putting Scyther in B tier. So if you look at, I actually have a picture I can pull up for you guys. 1 second. Someone someone made a screenshot of this in my Discord server, which link in the description, by the way, if you want to come hang out. Okay, it actually popped up on that monitor. It wasn't supposed to pop up on that monitor, but it did. So you look at their damage stats. If you look at their just stats at level 15, Scyther's attack stat is 170 points higher. Yes, SCIZOR has significantly higher HP and defenses, but what the fuck is this? Like, this should be closer to at least 500 or 550 in my opinion, or maybe this needs to be reined in, but I don't know. SCIZOR feels just unbelievably weak, and I think that's pretty much the consensus. Like, Scyther feels fine. Like, it feels good, but I'm not a huge fan of Scyther personally, and their play styles, I really prefer SCIZOR's playstyle, again, personally. So we're gonna put Scyther in B tier. It does feel better than SCIZOR, but only barely. I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, it just feels too squishy for me, too assassiny, and I cannot aim dual wing beat. I know there's some funky things going on, like sometimes your movement stick will aim where your dual wing beat goes. I've seen it personally. I've had it happen to me personally, and I saw it in, I think, whose video was it? I don't remember whose video it was, but someone made a video like showcasing like it happening, like moving their stick and like seeing the little indicator move around like with their movement stick on dual wing beat. So dual wing beats, auto aim is fucked up, targeting is fucked up. So I don't know. I don't really like that. It's very hard to hit for me. So I haven't been playing it. I've been playing mostly SCIZOR. With that being said, though, SCIZOR really needs a buff. SCIZOR, like just going back to this page, like I feel like this is intentional, having its attack be this low, because it was probably ridiculous on the test server. But I don't feel like it should be this low. Like, it's so weak. It does no damage. Yeah, it has some pretty good sustain, some pretty good shields you can get with bullet punch. Double hit feels fine, but man, does this character not do damage. And eventually, when they do buff this character's attack stat, which is all I really think it needs, I just think it needs to do more damage, just straight up, or maybe just even buff like the bullet punch damage or something like that. This character will one day be very, very good, because his playstyle feels very similar to Serena, which I love Serena. So yeah, I do think SCIZOR will have its day. It's just, man, they botched this release pretty damn hard. The character feels extremely underwhelming. Scyther only feels okay. So yeah, I mean, Scyther feels, you know, it's a decent B tier Pokemon. Like, I think that's fine. But SCIZOR, it needs some love already. And then for our God tier, I already alluded to it, but yeah, it's Mew. The character's not there. The character's unbelievably broken, still unbelievably overpowered. So yeah, it's our God tier Pokemon. So yeah, there's the tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you disagree or agree the most with, but be cordial about it if you will. Probably not, I doubt it, but if, you know, if you want to be cordial about it, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, you know, hope you all enjoyed it. Catch you all in the next one. My voice is absolutely dying, and I am not going to talk for probably about 3 days. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Catch you all in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye. I'm trying to find my end recording button, but I can't. Okay, there we go. Bye.